Russell, thank you for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
Really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy individual with a lot going on. So I'm glad that you wanted to show up here because I know we had this conversation and you were mentioning that the best way for you to learn and to grow is by sharing and teaching. So
Right.
this is the best opportunity for us to create that environment, and also for the audience, for whoever is watching this, to learn and see how they can break through things that might hold them back right now with their health and fitness. So as we get started, would you mind telling us, what do you do for a living? What type of business are you in?
Yeah, so I own multiple real estate businesses. So we do residential real estate, flip. We have our general contracting license, property management. So really just a lot of different things in residential real estate.
Got it. And what would you say your mission is? Your overall mission with your business, with your
My mission,
Mhm.
honestly, so I have a passion for real estate of the actual product, right? I like real estate, but my mission is actually to help other people fulfill their dreams. And so for me, I get as much joy out of helping one of my agents, break through new financial ceilings. And so
Mhm.
my mission, honestly, is to help as many people that I can reach their financial goals.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Now, not only one business, you own multiple businesses. I'm
Right.
just curious, what does your lifestyle look like on a day-to-day basis?
Um, yeah, I mean, a lot of it is honestly sitting right here, right in the office, long hours here, going out, visiting with clients, looking at projects. And then so I am a real estate coach.
Hmm.
And so I do travel with that some and then going to different masterminds, learning. And so as far as my lifestyle goes, I try to get in a trip here or there with the family, but honestly, I'm working a lot of hours. Usually start my day. I do struggle with mornings, so I start my days usually about 7 o'clock. I'm getting out of bed, and then I'm usually anywhere from 7 to 9 o'clock headed home.
Okay. Family, travel, employees. How many employees do you have currently?
Yeah, so we've got about 40 people that work for us.
Yeah. And as you guys can see, being busy is not the excuse here, as you will find out later. Just for the audience to get some context here, if you don't mind sharing, how old are you? How tall are you? And how much do you weigh right now?
Yeah, so I am 39. Let's see here, 5'8", 5'9" ish. And then as far as my weight, so I'm pushing towards 170, but this morning's still at 173.
Okay. Okay. And then where were you in your health and fitness journey before we started working together?
Yeah, so when we started, I was roughly 197, I think, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
And then at my heaviest, I was at 204. And
Hmm.
then that was years ago though. I've been right around that. I would go over 200 and then I would be like, oh, I gotta stop eating for a week and get back under 200. But that was kind of always my benchmark before, was that 200, which was, you know, 20 26% body fat roughly, that
Mm-hmm.
I was right around where I hovered out at 200.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so you said you would stop eating for a week. What do you mean by that?
Like literally, like I would just maybe have dinner, if that.
Oh, so you would
Uh,
fast. Hmm.
yeah. So I would, I mean, again, I'd break that 200. It's like, oh crap. And, go for some runs every day that week and then limit my calories. And I mean, that
Yeah.
was my yo-yo. That's been my life.
So besides that, what else? were you doing before, like to try to lose this weight? And
Yeah, I mean, I've done, throw a dart on the board depending on where I was at in my life. I mean, I've done keto. I've, had other personal trainers,
Mhm.
different diets, different meal plans. But I never stayed, like for me, I've tried everything, but I never stayed consistent
Mhm.
long term with any of it.
What do you feel like has been the biggest challenge or the most common challenges that you were facing before you joined the Hybrid Method Academy? Like, where
So
was
I'm
the?
really hard on myself.
Mhm.
I expect a lot out of myself. And so before, like when I would mess up, it
Mhm.
wasn't just like, okay, and I think that was one of the things you helped me realize too, is they weren't really mistakes, right?
Mhm.
Like sometimes it's
Yeah.
okay to, have that slice of pizza or a hamburger or whatever, as long as that not every day all the time, right? And so before it would be like, okay, I'm doing keto, I'm all in, and then I'm in a place where it's like, oh, I have to eat carbs, or I end up like at a party and they're with my kids and all they
Yeah.
ordered were Little Caesars pizza, and I eat it, and then it's like, oh, I'm off. And the next 3 months, I wouldn't think about my health. Like it would just almost like throw in the towel. I messed up once. Um, versus I think one of the big things that I've had that we've worked through of like, no, if I mess up or if I choose to eat a piece of cake, like that's fine, just don't eat cake 7 days in a row, like have it at the party and then get back to kind of that routine.
Love it. But this is another thing here that people often don't talk about, especially fitness coaches or health professionals, is like, okay, you're having cake every day, but how well do you think you will feel if you had cake every day? Like honestly, if you put sugar in your body, like huge loads of sugar consistently, right? And people say, okay, I can help you get in the best shape of your life by not sacrificing the foods that you love. Therefore, if you're big on pizza and donuts, then yeah, we can fit those in the macros, but how would you feel?
Right.
That's the question, right? So that's a good point there, because it's not all about, okay, I'm getting back on track, I'm staying consistent. It's also like, how do I want to feel?
Yeah.
And so, with all those like yo-yo, um, kind of yo-yo cycles and being hard on yourself and then going all in and then slowing down, perhaps stopping altogether, what do you feel that made you decide that it was time to stop doing what you used to do up until that point where you joined the program?
Yeah, well, so I'm like probably every other American, right? Every single year on my New Year's resolution, it was, it's you want to lose weight, make more money, and better your relationships.
Mhm.
And I've had the lose weight or get healthy on my, every single year. That's a goal.
Mhm.
And I haven't accomplished it. And so as I have made progress the last, 2 years financially in business and things like that, I had to look at like, okay, why am I successful? What have I done? And a big part of my success I can attribute to, having a coach and having someone that holds me accountable. And so for me, that's kind of when I started looking for that and started interviewing, trainers and looking into different programs. It was something that's what I felt the program was going to offer me was, essentially what I've done in other areas of my life to be successful.
Okay. Yeah, accountability is huge. Now, looking back of what you've tried before, including all those diets, including the running seasons and um, going hard at times, slowing down at times, compared to, what you experienced during our work together. So we're looking at what you've tried before
Yep.
and what you've experienced during the Hybrid Method Academy. What do you feel that it was different in the program that actually caused you to stay more consistent and create more of a lifestyle and just, sustain the progress that you have made?
Yeah. I think a lot of it was, I mean, working with you directly to say, hey, like, no, this is my lifestyle, right? Like I can be very stubborn, and it's like, I'm going to go to a hotel, or I'm going to be on the road this week and be able to, send a video to you and say, what should I do? So it wasn't, when I went on those trips, I completely fell off. And it was, you listening when it was, I remember the first workout I was like, I don't have time for this. Like, and so just working that we got my workouts down to, roughly 30 minutes. And I was, able to build that in around my schedule versus being like, no, this is my one window. You have to come meet me at the gym. This is what corporate told me I have to give you as your workout program. Because I even remember one of the weeks you saying like, hey, I think we should dial it back or take some time off. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, no, I have to hit it harder. And so just understanding that there's, a little bit more of the, we're going to make this work inside of your world versus you having to step into our world and, go on our schedule and do everything that we have to do. It's no, what is going to work for you to make lasting changes.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like there is a huge gap between what the current fitness industry has to offer versus where people are at with their lifestyle, with their priorities, with their careers. And I feel like that's my philosophy. I would rather stick to something that is doable, even though it's 10-minute workout a day. And you know what I mean? Rather than just trying to overcommit, but not be able to stick to over the long term. So, because at the end of the day, that's what creates progress. And that's probably what helped you break through plateaus and, kind of fit this into your lifestyle as opposed to what you just said, trying to force yourself to.
And when I look at it, right, it's kind of one of those, I mean, I wasn't perfect and I'm not perfect at, always tracking my food, eating right, and going to the gym. And that's one of the things though, that I think has also helped me keep going though. Like, again, it's the 30 minutes. The last cardio session I did, and same with the workout session. I don't remember what it said, but it said how many workouts I've done, right? It gives you that notification through the app. And it's to look back and be like, oh, like, yeah, probably 15, 20 of those workouts, I was on the road. And those are workouts that I wouldn't have done. Like, I just, I would have went to my event or my training. And so to see that, just because of, being able to send those texts or that thing, like, that's an extra 20 days of working out, which 20 days of consistently, like, it's amazing what you can see in those results. And so it's just, again, it's kind of those little things that it compounded over time add up to actually making changes versus like, I before I'd go to the gym and then I would stop and then I'd go. But it was, again, I still kind of have some of that yo-yo. I mean, that's again, part of there's days where I'm at the office or out with, whatever till 11 o'clock and I miss the gym, and that happens. But again, getting back on and being like, no, I got to hit at least, 2 to 3 times, and that was always at the back of my mind, where before it was like, we'll miss this week, and then this week turned into this month.
Yeah. And let's talk about results for you. What have you achieved? Like physical changes, mental, emotional changes in habits?
I told it was funny. I mean, like, putting on the pair of pants I'm wearing today, like, I told my wife, I'm like, I've got to get rid of all these pants. Like, they are now like literally like, I mean, they're big. And so just that, like, I mean, losing it's probably been, I'm down, probably 3.5, 4 inches on my waist, like, as far as the pant size, so before it was, 36s to 38s, and now I should be probably wearing a 32. Like, I mean, because these are 36s I put on, and it's ridiculous. Like all my belts, like my belts aren't fitting anymore. And so that's a good problem to have, right? And then just you're out, I was out kayaking. This was 2 months ago, but out kayaking and having someone be like, dude, you have definition in your arms. Like, when did that happen? And, then went to on a trip, where we went to Bear Lake over the summer, Lake Powell, and it was to be able to just like, for the first time, like in a long time, take off my shirt and not be ashamed. Like, no, am I absolutely ripped and look like you and like gonna flaunt it? Not yet, but like I'm at least comfortable in being able to take off my shirt at a swimming pool, where before, I mean, I was t-shirt guy. Like I wasn't going to take it off. And so physically, what has that done? Like, yes, I have definition in my arms. I'm actually like, my stomach's not just round. There is, I'm not seeing quite the the actual abs, but it's now not just a basketball. And my chest is flat, right? Like, and so for me, those are what I see in the mirror every day. And then, I think it was, one of the calls that we did where we were looking at kind of the results from, my side of my back. And it's like, oh, there's actually shape to my body. Like, and so those are just, I mean, again, it is fun after time to be like, no, the work that I'm putting in, I am starting to see the results. And then people in the office start commenting, or, people in your family comment, like it's been noticeable enough that like people are talking about it too, which makes me feel a little bit better as well.
Love it. Yeah. And now what about changes in your habits, lifestyle priorities, mindset? Have you experienced anything that really you would say it will help you in the future?
Well, so I'm in a group, a men's group, where we went, it's all about bettering ourselves. And one of the activities we did, this was it's been about 3 weeks, I think, since I was down at St. George. One of the activities we had to do was we had to pick up a rock, and we didn't know what we were doing with this rock, but we ended up having to carry this rock up the mountain and do lunges, and we had to hold it like in a squat position and stuff. And 6 months ago, if I would have done that, like I would have, I mean, I don't even know that I would have made it up the mountain. I was able to go canyoneering, and just the physical activity now that I can do, just those little changes of like, oh, I can go on a hike and I'm not dying within the first 15 minutes. And so being able to be more active that way. I love playing basketball, so I can actually go run at the gym and kind of keep up, where before it was like, no, I walked up and down and, eventually would just leave because I didn't feel like I was, in shape enough to play basketball. And so just being able to be more active, helps a lot. And then as far as just the, getting off the sugary soda, that's always been one of my vices. And so, not going on Sunday or Saturday and getting a 44-ounce, Pepsi. And before that was routine and normal. And, now if I have, any soda, it's a can, and I don't enjoy it. Like, I mean, I don't crave it like I used to. And so that's been good. I had, a couple weekends ago where I did eat whatever I wanted. And like you said, I felt like crap. And that's where I was like, oh, this is what, Manuel was talking about, where like food is fuel. And if you put bad food into your body, like you're not going to feel good. And, that was something that I experienced as I've been eating cleaner, that like, when I went back to the bad food, like, it's like, no, I don't even want that anymore. And so that was kind of a big aha for me, even in the last 2 weeks of like, before it was feeling very, there were times it's like, man, I'm feeling restricted. But then you go back and you actually eat something like that, and it's like, oh, that's not good. Like both in taste and how you feel afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because we have this created reality that we live in, and it's like a little bubble, and we eat whatever we eat, and we put things in our body like sugar, processed stuff, and that's our reality. We don't have a reference point. And then that's the importance of stepping out, having someone to walk you through a holistic approach, and you getting to experience the benefits of eating real food. And then, like I said, once you go back, then it's like most likely you won't want to go back to to the point where you're harming your health and harming your body and feeling those side effects. So thank you for sharing that. That's actually super powerful. Now, how did you stick to the program, even though it wasn't perfect, and nobody's perfect, and that's totally fine? And that's one thing that we talk about inside the community. You don't have it. We create this space where people can give themselves permission to make mistakes. Therefore, they learn and grow, and they build more trust within themselves. But I'm curious, looking at your lifestyle, because I know you traveled quite a bit. You had events with your business, with your employees, with your family. How were you able to consistently, show up for yourself and put in the work, the necessary work, regardless of your schedule, busy, hectic?
Yeah, I mean, some of it, and like you said, I wasn't perfect, but I bring it back to part of it's the accountability. One, having you check in, say, hey, what are you planning? What's your plan? Do you need me to resend the, how to order off menu, different things like that. So even though like, and most of the time I'd be like, no, I'm fine, I'm going to order, like it was top of mind, right? Because even though, again, I am terrible at responding to texts, and you've probably realized that, like notifications, like I look at it and then I get a phone call and I completely forget about it. So I'm terrible at responding. But those subtle reminders do put it in your subconscious mind of like, no, like, okay, I'm out, but I better order, a salad. I better order a piece of grilled chicken. Or even if I am ordering on menu, what can I order? And then maybe I'm not going to eat, whatever side came with it because it's full of butter or whatnot. And then the other piece is just continually, kind of having that reset every week or every couple of weeks of like, no, like I'm working towards something. I've committed, to lose weight. I've committed to get in shape, and just continually having, honestly, I bring it back. A big piece of it is the accountability of like going back and getting that text. Hey, how's it going? Like even just the how's it going text. It's like, oh yeah, like I should probably go to the gym. So just different little things like that. Right.
Yeah.
And the other thing though, I did find, especially with my cardio sessions, again, when I started out, it was like, okay, I'm going to get back into running. And it was like, no, just walk. Like if you're doing this fasted and you're doing it first thing in the morning, a jog or a walk. And I've got to the point, like, even when it's now turned cold, I still, like, just for my mental space, need that, that walk. So whatever it's doing mentally and physically for me, like it is something that I now crave in the mornings versus dreading going and doing. So there is a lot of mental clarity that comes from that exercise, at least for me, first thing in the morning.
Yeah. There are some neurotransmitters that are being released in the brain that there are a bunch of chemicals and hormones that make your body feel good when you're exercising. But you got to break that barrier. So that's a good point right there. I have two more questions for you.
Okay.
What would you say to someone who's in the same position you were before you joined the program, like running multiple businesses, having a family, traveling often. They want to lose some weight. They tried random things here and there. A lot of yo-yoing happen. Yet they're on the fence when it comes to committing to working with a coach because they want to. I don't know. Some people say this a lot, like wait. I need to wait for that right time. What advice would you have for someone in that position?
One, it's never going to be a right time. It's never convenient. Nothing is ever convenient. But, you know, it's one of those that I think back of, like, if a doctor said, hey, if you don't do this, or you're going to die in the next 30 days, like, we're all going to find the time to do it. The big thing for me is getting over that initial hump. Like, you know, it takes time to develop a habit and to develop routines. And if we leave it to our own devices, especially, I really feel like people that are over scheduled, over committed, like I'm guilty of doing, if we leave it to ourselves, we are going to push it. And so you have to get some type of accountability. But the thing that I like that it wasn't just, I have other coaches, I could have accountability, but also I think for me, it was having that plan so that it was thinkless. And what I mean by that is, when I got to the gym, I didn't think about what am I going to do today, or have to plan what I was going to do at the gym. The plan was already laid out. You know, as far as the first couple of weeks, I learned through tracking. Like, I went pretty quick off of tracking, but I learned, like, okay, what does 100 grams of chicken look like? What does 100 grams of broccoli look like? Or what does 100 grams of, instead of just doing 3 eggs, let's cut back to 1 egg and 3 egg whites, and that'll get your protein, but it tastes very simple. Like, so just having some of that initial, during that first 30, 60 days really helped me to then, feel confident of, like, no, I don't need to measure this. I know how much food this is, and I can eat it and know that I'm not going to gain weight if I eat it. And so, and then, like I said, for me as a busy person, like, and making decisions all day, you only have a certain amount of mental energy that you can give to decisions. And so by just knowing, like, yes, I'm going to go home, or I'm going to go to the gym today before I go home. And when I get to the gym, I pull up the app. Oh, it's leg day. Like, cool. Here's my exercises, run through them. Gives me my, my 2 stretches there at the end. I stretch, I go change, and I go home. And I didn't have to really burn any more mental energy. I just, you just had to give it that. For me, it was that 45 minutes total, 30 minutes of working out, and the 15 minutes it took to get dressed. And so for me, that really helped me. And again, it was one of those that I've tried for years on my own. And without having that guidance, that coaching and accountability, I'd still be right into the yo-yo.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're not anymore. So, last question. Who's the Hybrid Method Academy for, and who's not for?
Who it's for is anyone that is serious and committed about making change. So I would say who it's not for is someone that's going to come in and invest and then not show up at all, right? And so I think if you're committed to getting results and wanting that change, you're going to get them, and you're going to have the proper coaching and training to get the results, honestly, probably faster than what you would expect. And that was kind of when I was the most disciplined, because again, I still am learning to overcome my habits. The first 6 weeks, like, honestly, I saw more results. And then anytime that it was like, no, like, I'm committed again, like, I see the results again. And so I really do believe that, like, it is for someone that's committed to doing it. Because otherwise it's, it's just like you could stay home and watch YouTube videos on how to exercise, but if you never go exercise, nothing's going to change. What I liked about this, again, is that combination of the education, so that I know, like, oh, start with your protein as opposed to starting with a fat or carbs when you're eating. And so little tweaks like that, I do believe led me to getting results that I hadn't got before with other trainers or other programs.
Yeah. Details make even the smallest details make the biggest differences in the end. So love it. Yes. So you're up for big things moving forward. I know you're committed to keep making progress with your body, with your health, and taking it to your fullest potential. Thank you for taking the time, Russell, for this interview. Those of you watching this, thank you for watching this interview, and I'll talk to you soon.